Welcome to the Secrets of the Bible channel. Countries that are revealed in the book of Revelation. Are these locations in Bible prophecy? China. Does China have a role in the book of Revelation? China has more than 4 billion people, making it the second largest country in the world by population, just after India. This means China makes up 17.4% of all the people on Earth. The country covers an area as big as 5 time zones and shares land borders with 14 other countries. Many wonder if this vast and vital country is mentioned in Revelation, with strong newspaper headlines like China the next superpower. It's easy to think that this nation might be a big part of the Bible. Now the answer is no if you are looking for direct and explicit reference. The Bible does not explicitly mention China. However, there is a people in the book of Revelation that many believe refers to China, and this is the king of the East. We find these kings of the East in Revelation chapter 16. Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river, the Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way would be prepared for the coming of the kings from the East. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the East might be prepared. And I saw 3 loathsome spirits like frogs, leaping from the mouth of the dragon, Satan, and from the mouth of the beast, Antichrist, dictator, and from the mouth of the false prophet. For they are actually the spirits of demons, performing miraculous signs. And they go out to the kings of the entire inhabited earth to gather them together for the war of the great day of God, the Almighty. Behold, I am coming like a thief. Blessed is he who stays awake and who keeps his clothes. That is, stay spiritually ready for the Lord's return, so that he will not be naked, spiritually unprepared, and men will not see his shame. And they demons gathered the kings and armies of the world together at the place, which in Hebrew was called Har Magedon Armagedon. Revelation chapter 16 verses 12 through 16. The Bible says that the Euphrates River will dry up one day to make way for a king during the 7-year tribulation. There are 3 main sets of disasters: the 7 seals, trumpets, and bowls. We can find comfort in knowing that these things won't get worse than what's already described in these chapters. In Revelation, we read about seals, trumpets, bowls, lampstands, the dragon, and stars. The seals, trumpets, and bowls are different disasters. The bowl judgments come at the very end of the tribulation, and they are so severe that if they went on, everyone on earth would be destroyed. Mark chapter 13 verses 19 through 20. For those days will be such a time of tribulation, as has not occurred since the beginning of the creation which God created until now, and never will again. And if the Lord had not shortened those days, no life would have been saved. But for the sake of the elect, whom he chose, he shortened the days. Who is the king of the East? This drying up isn't just a big event, but looks like God plans it as part of what will lead to Armageddon. The term, the kings of the East, in Revelation chapter 16 verse 12, has been debated extensively throughout Christian history. The book of Revelation uses many symbols, and its prophecies can be hard to understand, leading to different interpretations. The phrase, the kings of the East, has been looked at from many different perspectives, including these. The 7 bowl judgments are the tribulation period's last and most intense judgments. They will be the worst punishments the world has ever faced. You can find details about the 7 bowls in Revelation chapter 16 verses 1 through 21, named the 7 bowls of God's wrath. Human wickedness has reached its highest point during the Antichrist's reign. This causes God's anger against sin to be poured out. The 7th trumpet signals the start of these 7 bowl judgments. In the 6th bowl, the river Euphrates is affected. The 6th bowl judgment, the next to last judgment during the tribulation, is when the Euphrates River dries up. Revelation chapter 16 verse 12. Then the 6th angel poured out his bowl on the great river the Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way would be prepared for the coming of the kings from the East. Massive armies from the East, including countries like China, India, and Japan, could quickly move west once the Euphrates River dried up and became a road. There are many ideas and guesses about which countries these armies might be. Some people wonder why armies from the East move west. Some think it's because of a global leader called the Antichrist who lives in Europe. In the end, these armies will fight against God. Next, the kings of the earth will come together to the place called Armageddon in Hebrew. We can see that the drying up of the Euphrates River is linked to a big war. This big battle takes place at a place called Armageddon, Har Magedon. So what exactly is the Battle of Armageddon? China's growing influence and military capabilities have indeed made it a significant player on the global stage. China's rise and actions in various regions have led many to speculate about its potential role in future geopolitical scenarios, including end times prophecies. Is this the only suspicion that people have? Well, no. Some people believe that a battle in Revelation is about China in the end times. They refer to Revelation chapter 9 verse 16, which talks about an army of 200 million. And some reports say China could have a big army like that. But there are issues with this idea. Revelation chapter 9 doesn't mention an army from the east. It talks about a demonic army that destroys a third of humanity. The horses they ride aren't real horses. Also, the battle in Revelation chapter 9 happens after the sixth trumpet judgment, while the battle in Revelation chapter 16 with the kings of the east comes after the sixth bull judgment, likely about 3.5 years later. In the end, many nations, including China, will try to conquer others, but their main struggle will be against God. The tribulation will be a time of great conflict and disasters. But remember, as Psalm chapter 2 verses 2 through 6 says, God is in control of everything. The kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and his anointed, the Davidic king, the Messiah, the Christ, saying, "Let us break apart their divine bands of restraint and cast away their cords of control from us." He who sits enthroned in the heavens laughs at their rebellion. The sovereign Lord scoffs at them, and in supreme contempt he mocks them. Then he will speak to them in his profound anger and terrify them with his displeasure, saying, "Yet as for me, I have anointed and firmly installed my king upon Zion, my holy mountain." Psalm chapter 2 verses 2 through 6. China is Kittim. Isaiah chapter 23 verse 1 talks about the land of Kittim. So which country today does this prophecy point to? The name Kittim can mean both the island of Cyprus and the nation of China. The people who first lived in Cyprus and gave it that name were the ancestors of the Chinese. The Jewish historian Josephus tells us that some of Japheth's descendants, like the families of Gomer, Tubal, and Togarmah, first lived in southern Europe. Then they moved east into Asia. One of these families, called Kittim, originally lived west of Mesopotamia before moving to the Far East. Many people think that Isaiah chapter 23 verses 1 through 3 shows that Kittim, which we now call China, will be a key player in the world's economy along with Europe. The Bible says that this partnership might shout out the nations of Israel. It's not surprising that China will be a major part of this economic team with Europe, because China is the biggest exporter in the world today. Soon, these two trading groups will control the global economy. Number 3.